Hi, Shiram, welcome to BizTalk. That's my great pleasure having you with me today. How are you?
I'm doing fine, Max. Thanks for having us on the show with you.
Thanks for
Thank
coming.
you, Max, having me in the show.
Thank both of you guys, and thanks again for coming. So let's start talking about Square Count and GRAHAs as the brand that we are talking today.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks a lot for giving us this opportunity to be a part of BizTalk. And we are a startup based in Chennai right now, Chennai, India, and we offer virtual reality based training solution to the manufacturing companies for the upskilling and reskilling of their blue collar workforce. So our vision is to enable and augment the skill set of each and everyone across the globe as per their domain expertise. And in our path towards realizing our dream, we have started it off with the learning and development in the manufacturing and industrial sector with our virtual reality based training solution, wherein we are trying to transform the way the training happens in a manufacturing or an industrial company. And let us take a look at the problem that we are trying to solve here. Uh, Traditionally, the manufacturing and the industrial companies, they spend a huge sum of amount towards the training of their blue collar workforce and the entire workforce in the shop floor in general. And often the cost is more than 5% of the total turnover, and it's time consuming as well. As per our research and the market analysis that we have done, on an average, it takes about 12 to 18 months for the new hires within a manufacturing or an industrial company to become a skilled workforce wherein they can handle all the complex tasks. That's the kind of the and the training content it actually takes for the manufacturing companies towards the training process with respect to the blue collar workforce. So what we do here, and not to forget, it also poses all the safety hazards because these trainees are working with live machineries and tools, which are all complicated and heavy, and also it involves a lot of production downtime. Whenever there is a training session that is going on, there will be a lot of production downtime during these processes. So that is why we thought we have a better opportunity here, or maybe a better problem that has remained unattended for a longer time. And we came up with our virtual reality based training solution, wherein we have our own smartphone based virtual reality headset, and we have a tailor-made virtual reality content that we create for these manufacturing companies as well. So what are the things that we address? We help them reduce the training-related expenses to more than 50% on the current expenses. And also the time taken towards training these workforce becomes a lot more lesser than what is happening right now. In retrospect, our solution is 4 times more faster, and also it is more focused as the complete training happens on a virtual headset, which they will be wearing on their eyes, and there won't be any deviation or concentration lapse in terms of the training or consuming the content, so that it becomes more focused and the productivity at the end of the training becomes more evident as well. And also, since this is an immersive platform and a virtual format, the trial and error is immense, and they get a lot of scope in terms of trying them out before even hitting the job floor or a production floor. In in reality, it becomes a muscle memory for them as they keep trying it enough time before even getting the job floor. And also, this is not something it's going to be stressful or strenuous. It becomes more gamified since this is a virtual environment, mostly pretty new to most of the users who are trying it out. So this actually becomes a more interactive and immersive experience, and also the wow factor interwoven into these elements becomes more immersive and gets a focused and productive training environment as well. And also this is virtual, so there are no question of safety aspect at all. And everything is so protected in a safe environment. And it is also geographically irrespective of their physical location as well. So this is the market chart that which we have here. The current workplace training is estimated at $341 billion. That's the global workplace training. And the virtual reality market is at $17.25 billion, whereas it is expected to hit $402.1 billion by 2026. That's for the global workplace training. And whereas the virtual reality market is concerned, it's expected to hit $184.66 billion by 2026. And I'm sure these figures are going to be much more larger and growing as we progress with both virtual reality and hybrid workplace model as well. And with respect to our addressable market specific to India, we target the manufacturing companies, which are basically large and very large manufacturing companies. That forms our ideal bucket size owing to the training expense that they go through. So the market size for our the addressable market size is about 43,300 and odd companies. That's the approximate number of large and very large manufacturing companies that are available in India. So that's the addressable user base that we have within India. Not we are not even going to the other parts of the world as well. And coming to our advantage, well, the virtual reality headsets and all the other content and everything prevailing in this domain is mostly focused towards gaming and pleasure. But whereas we focus on a niche segment within the industrial training, whereas industrial training is something considered to be totally physical and that requires totally your physical presence within the machineries and tools. And virtual reality is something that is on the other end of the spectrum. So we are trying to bring them both together and bridge this out. So our operating model in itself is particularly a niche category that we are operating in. And one other thing, we are not saying we're not the only one doing this. There are several other companies doing this, but most of the other companies rely on third-party hardware, virtual reality hardware to produce, deliver the content. Whereas we have our own smartphone-based virtual reality headset and our own tailor-made content for this. So this gives us immense scope of tailor-making the content as well as customizing the solution for our clients. One other thing is all the other major hardware manufacturers in the virtual reality domain share or store the data in one way or the other. Or maybe if they are not doing it right now, they are expected to be doing it within the next few months down the line. So what we propose is we don't store or share any of the user data until and otherwise required by the client, wherein we don't have to store them necessarily. But if at all there is a situation wherein the client requires us to, we will do it, but we are not doing that inherently. And also our virtual reality headsets can be used with the glasses on, because as you could see, I myself a man who wear glasses, and that's the case with most of the other people as well. And we can't ask them to remove the glasses and use the virtual reality headsets while they are being trained on, because that's obviously going to create visual discomfort, and also the focus may not be properly aligned. So our headsets can be used with the glasses on. This avoids the users from experiencing motion sickness even after prolonged usage of the device. Yeah, so this is a basic model of our device. This is how it would look like. And with respect to the business model, we currently provide them as a package, as a complete solution, wherein we charge for both the headsets as well as the content together. And with our solution, our clients will be able to get 20 units along with the solution. And anything on top of the 20 unit will be charged about $35 to $40. That's approximately about 3,000 rupees and odd with respect to the Indian currency. And as we progress further, any kind of content updation or any kind of training module changes, anything that needs to be done from the client's end will have to go through a new update. And those kind of new updates will go through a new invoicing and revenue process as well. So that brings about a recurring revenue system for us. And once down the line, once we have a sufficient library with us, and once we have attained a critical mass, we intend to change this model into from an asset sales model, we intend to change this into a subscription-based model or a pay-per-use model, depending on the time, because we would have changed the behavior of these training processes. So it makes even more clear, and we would also be in a better position. And also it would be justifiable for our clients as well, because they would have seen the actual results of our training model, so that it becomes clear for them to pay for each person training or the number of hours they are being trained on. So that's the time we intend to change this into either a subscription-based model or a pay-per-use model. And with respect to the team, I am the founder, Srinivasan. I've completed my schooling and have experience of about 12 plus years in various different domains like sales, marketing, and technological backgrounds. And our co-founder, Sriram, has completed his diploma in electrical and electronic engineering. And he has worked with all the major automakers like Honda, Volkswagen, and last he worked with Mercedes-Benz. And we have Mr. Rajaram Venkatraman, the CEO of WhaleTech TBI. He's our advisor and mentor. And we have 3 other developers who are working with us on the content creation as well. And with respect to our timeline, we launched our app, the preview version of our app in Google Play Store earlier this year. And we are already underway with a couple of projects. We are doing the pilots for a few of the clients in the manufacturing and related domains. And we were also selected by the Colorado state government towards establishing our headquarters there in the United States, in the state of Colorado. And we have been offered tax-based credit incentives of $494,000 and 747. And we are soon going to be launching our startup and establishing our headquarters in Colorado soon. Probably once the COVID restrictions are down, we will be establishing our base there. And very recently, a couple of days back, we got through into the Microsoft for Startups program. And we are now part of a Microsoft Startup Partner Accelerator program as well, wherein we get to enjoy a lot of credits and the go-to-market initiatives from Microsoft. And we will be able to, we also get the opportunity to sell a solution to the clients of Microsoft as well. So that's a brief about us in a nutshell. And thanks, Max, once again for giving us this opportunity. And we would love to be open to any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Srini. It's very exciting. It's a big time for virtual reality, augmented reality, metaverse. There is a lot to talk about. We don't have so much time, but we try to do our best. My first question is, how close can be a virtual training to a normal training? So in one word, in few words, if I'm training myself with your headset, okay, may I go straight to the ground floor and do my job?
Yeah, that is our ambition, or the vision. That's the objective that we are trying to achieve here. But if you take the case of the, or maybe the comparison of the physical training and a virtual training, we can never replace 100% of it, at least with the available technology and the form factors, the immediate product and the solution that we have right now. This can never be 100% replacement as at this moment, but we will definitely get there. And I would say we are about 60 to 75%. We are already there with respect to the kind of training that you could get, the immersive experience that you have or you get with these devices. That is definitely way better than the current practices that are in place.
So may I say is more studying something more in details, more close to the reality, but after you still need to move for some time before fully operating on your side on the ground. Maybe do not train yourself close to the machine for let's say 10 hours, but you will do for 2 hours because the 80% left is done virtually.
Exactly. That's the point. Say, for instance, I think the ideal statement would be, for instance, if it takes about 12 months or 8 months or 12 months for a new hire to handle some of the complex tasks, maybe they will be able to do it within 2 months or 3 months once they get used with our virtual reality based training. That would be the ideal objective, or maybe the deliverables that we can define from our virtual reality training. The kind of skilled jobs that they will be able to take, that time gets reduced drastically to what that is in place right now. It's not that they go through the training with the virtual reality based system and the very next day they are put into the job floor and go through some of the most complex tasks. That's obviously not going to be possible. I would be either too over exaggerating or maybe a false statement. That would be a false statement. That may not be the case, but definitely instead of taking that 8 or 12 months or 16 months for them to handle those complex tasks, they will be able to do that starting from 2 months or maybe lesser time, depending on the complexity of the job and the nature of the job that they are in.
Why did you decide to move to creating your headset and not using third-party headset? Is that more convenient for you? It's a very good advantage in terms of competition, or maybe it's too expensive?
Yeah, the way we started our company, we actually started it off from the virtual reality headset, rather than focusing on a problem statement and then coming out with a solution or product from our end. We were not, to be honest and frank, we were not aware of all those different pointers and all the other aspects related to entrepreneurship. We were some blindfolded young enthusiasts in this particular domain who wanted to do something meaningful out of this particular domain. So that is how we started off the virtual reality journey and came out with the virtual reality headset. But as we went ahead, we thought and we came across all of these pointers and all the other factors that are in play here. So that is actually when we found out that we would need an actual use case for our device, or else we don't have anything to do here with just a standalone virtual reality headset or as an accessory. So once we were able to have that clear, we actually started looking for other virtual reality headsets as well. And this was completely non-biased, and we were not judgmental of any of the quality or anything. We were completely non-biased and went ahead and started looking for other alternative options as well, wherein we could actually the software part is more easier than the hardware part. Coming out with a hardware device and then marketing it and producing it, that's actually the more tougher part than creating the content or the software. But we are actually forced to do so because the other available alternatives, either the cheaper ones, they were not so up to the mark in terms of the quality or the kind of quality that we would deliver through our content to our clients, or in other cases, in some of the premium segments, they were confined to a fewer smartphone models. Respected to that, brands like Samsung was compatible only with a few of their premium smartphones, and Google again was only compatible with a few of their Pixel smartphones. So that's one of the reasons why we had to come up with it. Maybe if we take that standpoint again today, we have a standalone virtual reality headsets from Oculus. We have Oculus Quest 2, and there is one more coming from HTC Vive as well. If we are going for it, the cost towards investing in these virtual reality gears and headsets, say for instance, with our solution, we give 20 units of our virtual reality headset along with our content, that we would definitely not be able to do so with the other available alternatives. And also in terms of the investment for the clients, they are probably better off doing it the existing way rather than spending this much of amount towards these other alternative hardware gears. So that's actually the reason why this made total sense than going the other way.
I mean, as you say, we've been seeing so many, enough virtual reality in gaming, in pleasure, very few in manufacturing. Probably because it's quite complicated to get there. It is why many, they just give up in the first place. Now, you have been talking, moving from selling, actually you're not selling devices, you give devices and selling the software because this is where you make money, okay? But I'm very interested in understanding how you move from software, it will always be there, to SaaS.
Yeah, the reason being, again, with the current model that we have right now, we have to first change their behavior. That would be one of the primary challenges that we have here. The kind of training that happens in the manufacturing floor, the processes associated towards those aspects. But in order for us to do that, we will have to be extremely competitive and forthright, welcoming for the from the client's perspective. But once we have that in play, we are not maybe putting them into any kind of contract. If it is a subscription that has to be, they have to stay with us for 12 months or maybe a year or 6 months. So some kind of we are confining them to a particular time frame. But whereas with our current solution, we are not. They are not time bound. They could try a couple of pilots, and if they like it, they could go ahead and adopt a full scale solution that could probably be more less expensive for them rather than something subscribing to a SaaS. But once they understand the nitty gritty of these training models, and once they have trained enough workforce with these models, then they would actually be able to audit and gauge the kind of productivity that comes out of it. In that time, probably it makes more sense for them as well as to us to measure it on a per user basis or a per employee basis, which actually gives them a better understanding of analyzing and auditing the output or the productivity level of each and every individual that they are hiring. And also, it makes more sense for us to, we would already have a library of virtual reality content created so that it would be easier for us to push it in a SaaS format as well. So it would be a win-win situation for both the ends, for us as well as to our clients. That's how we intend to migrate to a SaaS platform.
You are going to migrate to the SaaS when you have enough content inside your platform.
Exactly.
Inside your platform. But state in your today business model, you give the devices and they will pay for the software. Let's say you are selling your proposition to 500 employees company. The other company has 250 employees. Do they pay per number of people using your headsets? Or do they pay?
Well, the current model would be for the man hours. It would be charged on an hourly basis. The number of hours it gets for the content to be created, because with the current model, again, the content differs from each and every client. So the content is completely dynamic and the pricing is dynamic as well. But we would be charging them on an hourly basis on the number of hours taken for these content creation. If it is a small content wherein they wanted to train, that's probably going to cost them way lesser than a full-scale solution. So they could try those kind of solutions and then test them out. And once they are successful, they could go in for a full-scale implementation of all the complete training modules and the methodologies as well.
Okay, so they're going to pay for the module itself, not for how many people are going to use it. When you move to the SaaS, it's going to be exactly the opposite, right? So they will pay for how many users will be on your platform and probably even their content. Now, regarding your business model, we've been covering enough. What about your market, where you are very focused on India now, but your addressable market is quite big? What about the market you actually can serve? And after you can obtain the obtainable market where you can actually really can place your service.
Yeah, so the service obtainable market we are focusing on is the specific to our state, first with the city and then the state, and mostly focused on the auto and auto ancillary units, because Chennai is actually dubbed to be the Detroit of India. So we have so many auto and auto ancillary manufacturers in and around Chennai and other places within our state, Tamil Nadu. So that's what we intend to do with respect to the service obtainable market first, because that itself, I think we would be very well suited to cover that in about maybe a year, or even probably lesser than that. But our ideal target is within a year is our ideal target that we try to obtain this particular market. And once we do that, expanding to the other areas would be, I don't say it would be a lot easier, but comparatively, once we have done that, maybe we have crossed a threshold market, then probably it's just about scaling from 10x to 20x or 30x, those kind of 0 to 1 scale levels. So probably for us to do that, that would be probably less challenging than achieving this. So once we do that, then we intend to expand nationally and globally, in a parallel time.
What about US? Probably decided already, you have in mind to move your headquarters in America. Why America, and how do you scale to America? Because India, America are very different.
Yeah, that's right. We actually have been selected by the state government for us to be, establishing the premises and everything. So we are focusing on setting the base there as well. And we are trying to multi-manage both of these scenarios. And probably because of the fact Colorado is a base wherein the kind of acceptance towards these kind of technological latest advanced solutions by the manufacturing companies there, they actually have a good mix of talent, both the developer base, user base, as well as the market for us to serve there. So we are thinking probably if everything gets settled well down there, maybe we will, the service obtainable market will be primarily become Colorado, and then from that we would take a top-down approach as well. Because of the current geopolitical situations and the other climate surrounding these scenarios with respect to COVID and everything, we are actually having both of them on an equal balance, and we'll switch over accordingly as it pans out.
Okay, what about, there are machines that has to be used by more than one people. How do you train them in virtual reality?
If two people have to get trained on a machine at the same time,
two people has to work together. Exactly. Some machine you need to combine two people working simultaneously, but with different topics to cover. They had different things to do. How do you manage? Is possible to do something similar in virtual reality with your handset?
Yeah, with the current available factors and the models, that is not possible. That is not how we were implementing it right now. But what you're asking is completely possible, wherein they could collaborate. Both of them will be able to collaborate together. We will get there, but not immediately right now. We will be getting to that point probably down the line in another few months. But that's totally possible, and that can be done as well. But that would be actually in a different end. Maybe that is more so required in a R&D environment, but right now probably what is required is a supervisor or a faculty instructor requiring to oversee some of the training, that how they are doing it, because with the model they will be able to interact with the missionaries themselves. So the current need of the hour would be either a faculty or an instructor overseeing these training activities. That can be done wherein we could have different situations within the training platform, wherein we could have an admin access given to one particular person who will be the instructor, and they could oversee the operations, how it is being done, just like our physical classroom, how a faculty or an instructor goes through the examination hall and those kind of scenarios.
Are you raising any funds now?
Yeah, we actually have been trying to raise in the past, but right now we are looking to get a couple of state-sponsored and the national funds right now. We are up in line for that. But if we get through any good deal, we would definitely be open to it and happy to work on it as well. But funding as a full-fledged activity, we are not into it as at the moment, because we are looking at a couple of government and state-sponsored funds. But if we come through a good deal flow and a good investor who has our vision and who likes what we are doing, we would definitely be happy to work with them and explore further.
I mean, how do you envision your company? Where do you see your company in 5 years? Yourself and Shriram as well.
Yeah, the primary objective of what we want to do is enable and augment the skilling of each and everyone, because we ourselves have an insatiable appetite for learning. So we believe rather than going through all the other factors with respect to saving mankind and humanity, all the other kind of stuff, we believe skilling will be a very important factor, and that is something any given day in any format and any kind of technology, that is something that's totally required. And that too increasingly in an automation enabled world, in an automotive world wherein we are heading on to, I think the only works or the jobs that won't be replaced are the ones that require your skill. So that's why we actually want to combat technology with technology. That is how we are addressing it. So we will be a skilling company, or probably one of the prominent skilling company in the world, maybe down the line in the next 5 years or 10 years. And whatever that is required to equip and enable the skill set of each and everyone, we would try to do that. And we would be traveling in this particular path. In terms of the product lineup, we already have this smartphone-based headset. And maybe some people within the virtual reality industry would think probably this is too outdated, or we are coming out with a product of yesterday, but that's not actually the case. We strongly believe the smartphone based VR headsets were in a wrong place in a wrong time, wherein the computing power and the display resolutions that we have in our smartphones compared to what we had a couple of years back are far more superior than some of the computers and the PCs that we have in our household. So we will continue to in this trend of smartphone VR maybe for about a year or so. Once that, we will have our own virtual reality device. It will be a standalone device. Could be they are under work, so I don't want to reveal much on it, but that's under wraps right now. So we are working on it, and definitely would love to share with everyone on that. And probably that would be a single device that would solve all the kind of, like I said, anything related to skilling. That would be a single go-to device that we are coming out with. And that would again be more so interactive and non-intrusive than any of the other devices that we have right now.
I mean, let me ask you, that's my curiosity. Can we have these devices are very invasive? I mean, they are big, there is nothing to do. Google tried to do glasses, but we are still there. We are still waiting. Nothing is absolutely great. It's real. One day we can have this pair of glasses. I can use it to train myself in virtual reality without bothering using this huge headset, which is going to be nice. I'm pretty sure. We're getting better and better. They're still very big. What do you think? Is possible one day?
Yeah, that's definitely possible. I'm thinking even maybe again, we would require a lot of complementary technology elements to grow parallelly, like how we see, we saw the advent of smartwatches and all the other parallel devices that we have. We would require not just this particular device, we would require advancement in optics, the display resolution, and the computing power. And the computing chip has to be so small that you are able to put it inside, within this the middle portion of the glass. Only if you are able to do that, we would be able to, get through all the all the other things that we are able to do in a 6-inch smartphone. We would be able to do it in a 3 and 3 into 6. So that is definitely possible, but we would require other complementary infrastructural elements as well. And maybe probably one day I envision a day wherein we are able to demonstrate one such to you and the other audiences as well, probably.
Shriram, thank you so much for coming to BizTalk. It's been a very great pleasure with you, and wish you all the best. We really need to train in a more safety way.
Sure.
As well.
Thank you, Max.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Take care.
Sure.